Welcome to episode 2 of the Kill Feed podcast. We missed 2 weeks because I was on the verge of death because of influenza, and then last week our scheduling was real bad, wasn't it?
It was real bad.
It was real bad. We're going to be a lot more on it.
Yep.
We're going to set a date
Yes.
each week
It'll be
when we're going
fine.
to do this.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine, he says. It won't be fine. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we want to? If we're going to catch up with Overwatch League first,
Yeah.
yeah. If you want to
That's
talk
a good
Overwatch
place to
League,
start. Yeah.
where do we start? Because we've done.
Okay, so we talked about week 1 in our first podcast. We did. So if we pack, maybe we just pick up from week 2, because weeks 1 and 2 were both kind of short weeks because of Korean and Chinese homestands getting cancelled. I think it was Chinese ones getting cancelled because of coronavirus.
Chinese at the time, but then they got moved to Korea, and then later on they were cancelled.
Okay. But anyway, so week 2 was kind of a strange week because nobody expected Outlaws to get rolled by Florida.
Not as badly.
Basically, nobody expected Outlaws to be as bad as they were in that first week.
No, definitely not. And I know they were sick, but I don't know. We still don't know how much of the impact that was on that team. Because of the way the season's structured, you play like clusters of games, and then you don't play for ages. It's like we haven't seen Shock. We haven't seen Shock or Gladiator since week 1. We're on week 5 next. You know?
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so it's just unfortunate we played a bunch of games back to back, as we'll go on to later, and our performances were all, sorry, I say our, Houston's performances, were awful.
Pretty much. There's not a lot to add to that, really. They got rolled. Like,
yeah,
both games in week 2, they got absolutely destroyed. They looked completely lost.
No cohesion in that team whatsoever. Looked like you said, completely lost. Like they've never met each other before.
Yeah.
It was really odd.
Yeah. Philly looked good though.
Yeah, Philly looked real good.
So pre-season, my predictions for Philly were that they weren't going to be amazing. Because kind of like outside of Fury and Carpe, it's not like they're like a really strong team, but I was like, these guys aren't going to be like top tier. But actually, like the players that needed to popped off. Sado looks way better than he did before.
Yeah, he does. He does look real deal. I was gonna say, I think you owe Mr. Sado an apology there.
Yeah, I shit-talked him pretty hard in week 1, I think.
Yeah.
But I think Philly were good. Washington were kind of what I expected Washington to be.
Yeah.
Like they've got a really good squad, but they're going to lose against the best teams in the league. So
yeah, I would say that they sort of tend to play hot and cold a little bit. They're like if Stratus and Corey are on fire, they'll give some good teams a run for their money a little bit, you know. But otherwise, yeah.
Yep.
So that was the Battle of Brotherly Love in Philadelphia.
Still
week
a
2.
terrible name for a homestand.
Absolutely.
Then
week 3, we go into that now.
Yep.
That is the Washington Justice homestand. That was when we had a bunch of games.
Yeah, I think that was the first of 5 that they've got, by the way. They have like a huge amount of homestands. And Washington's travel is actually like minimal. Like really minimal this season. I think they have the least amount of travel out of any team. And having 5 homestands definitely helps.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't know why they've got 5 homestands. It must be something to do with scheduling. They couldn't make it work otherwise.
Well, I think you could have as many as you wanted. I think the minimum was 1. I think.
Right.
but you could basically have as many as you wanted. So the teams that have selected only have like one or something like that. They basically, the remainder get picked up by other teams. So
Yeah, but still, 5 is. I mean, if you're a Washington fan that's local, you're loving that.
yeah, Dallas have got 5 as well, I think.
Really? Jesus. Yep. So the first match of that weekend was a big one. New York Excelsior versus Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah, that didn't go the way I expected it to go, and that was a match that kind of made me go, okay, Philly are like legit,
the real deal. Yeah. They're legit.
Yeah, New York didn't look super convincing in week 1 versus London, but their second match. Who did they play in the second match week 1? Oh, it was against Houston actually in week 1. No, wait, this pulled
no,
up
it wasn't.
The wrong
It was
page.
Paris.
It's pulled up the wrong page.
They played Paris. Oh no, sorry, Boston. Jesus,
Boston,
they played London and Boston. Yeah, sorry.
So they basically played 2 weaker teams in week 1, but they looked really strong against Boston.
Yeah.
But then after they played some more games, it became apparent that Boston were just fucking terrible. So it doesn't really say anything about New York. So, but yeah, that match really showed how good Philly are right now.
Yeah. I think their new support duo is really good in Funny Astro and Alarm.
Yes.
I think they're
I agree.
excellent. It's funny, Poco getting played so much more of a Fury.
Yeah, I think Fury played this weekend, so in week 4. But yeah, Poco played up until then, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, we know Poco's got a good diva, so
yeah.
I said in our first podcast that it was going to be Fury 100% of the time, but Poco proved me wrong. He's definitely able to compete for that starting spot, so why not?
Oh, absolutely. And from New York's point of view, it's just strange that Libero is not getting played as much.
I mean, Who Are You is historically known for his Genji and like projectile heroes in general.
Yeah.
But Libero, just I don't know, Libero.
There could be something more.
Like in that team, he's had plenty of time to gel with that squad. Churyu's only had like the break. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see, because like Churyu has an insane like peak, so maybe that's why.
Second match was Boston Uprising against Houston Outlaws. Boston beating them.
Sorry, you go.
Boston beating them 3-2 overall. What were you gonna say?
Sorry, I was gonna say this is the longest match in Overwatch League history, right? As in like the amount of maps played.
I was gonna say it felt like it anyway.
Yeah, because it was the first time we'd gone to 7 maps in Overwatch League.
It was really weird, in the sense that it was just like Houston just seemed to be in such a daze and just could not get anything together. Could not get their shit together.
Yeah,
pretty much. And then they won map 5. They won their.
It sounds weird to say they won map 5, but they actually lost the series. But yeah. They won 2 maps in a row, right? And then they didn't swap out their support line again.
So yeah, Houston didn't pick up a map until map 5, and that was when they consecutively played
Raucus?
Raucus, yeah. They kept swapping him and Repel out.
Yes. So he played Oasis and Nepal.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, he played Oasis in Nepal. And then, so they needed one more win to take the series.
Yes, on Lijiang Tower.
On Lijiang Tower, and they swapped back to Repel. Important to note, though, they played Dante instead of Hydration.
Right.
And I think...
What, for the whole series?
I believe so, yes. Right. Dante started instead of Hydration.
Right.
Now, I'm a big fan of Hydration, but him and Blase have not hit set the world alight playing for Houston at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they need to rely on the old guard a bit more. Get Linkser, get Dante playing.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Dante's performances warrant his starting spot enough anyway, but it depends on what Harshaw wants to do with the squad.
Yeah, this is true. The thing is, Blase and Hydration are both like hyper flexible, right? So they kind of like, I don't know, kind of cover each other's roles a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But you kind of want someone that's flexible playing with a specialist.
Yeah.
Whereas you just got like two jack of all trades, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Following match, Paris 3-1 Washington.
Paris
Bit of an upset.
Legit.
Paris look good, don't they?
Really good.
Yeah.
I was really surprised at how good Paris looked.
They've made some really good
Because they beat London in
acquisitions.
week 1, right? And
Yeah.
nobody was surprised by that. Because London are a totally unknown quantity. And Paris have the 2 or 3 ex-Element Mystic players plus ex-Element Mystic coach.
Yeah.
And they are doing bits. But even with the language barrier, they just look super strong right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're really interesting. Like you said, there's Element Mystic players, XE coming in, and the other two, I can't remember their names at the moment because they're not of age, are they?
Hanbin played week 4, I think.
Yeah. Hanbin played this week.
Yeah. And he looked really strong.
Yeah, he did.
And but Sparkle's not available for a little while yet.
No, not yet.
About halfway through the season.
But yeah, those two and FD Gold put in great performance.
So good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Lucio's been probably the best to watch so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a shame. I mean, we'll get onto hero pools in a bit, but when those bans come in and players that are so much of a specialist, when their heroes are banned, like
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's teams that are more flexible and have the ability to play players that could fill different roles that would be alright, you know.
And because it's week on week, it's basically
it's
becomes
not
the
the end
most
of the world.
adaptable teams that will win.
Yeah, I think because it's week on week and not being played over like the span of like a month-long ban of those characters, I think it will end up being okay for teams that even have more specialized players because like I said now, Houston won't play for another 3 weeks or whatever, so they wouldn't be affected by these upcoming bans.
Yeah,
things like that, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not sure how the scheduling will work for our other teams, but that's just one I know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Right. Next match was.
I don't think we need to talk too much about it because Houston just got rolled by NYXL.
Yeah, one team sat down and played. The other team. No idea.
Yeah.
Not a clue. I feel sorry for Meko. You know.
Same. Yeah, I saw a clip of him as NYXL walked onto the stage, to the other side of the stage, and he just looks so sad.
That's something. I know we spoke a lot about Houston this podcast, but they were just such a surprise. And going back to the Washington match, they look so dejected, even in like breaks and stuff. Just sat there, barely talking to each other. Like they just didn't want to be there. Maybe that's because they were sick. I don't know.
I'm sure that played a part in it. Like we've all been sick and had to drag ourselves to work and stuff, and they know people are relying on them. People are just gonna flame them hard for the next few weeks if you make a bad performance. You can have one bad performance in OWL and it's seen by like a couple 100,000 people.
Yeah, and it just makes it worse when it's in comparison to like Stratus has got his feet up on the chair, on the desk.
Yeah, straight chilling.
Just straight chilling. They're all having like cracking jokes and stuff, and the other team are just sat there.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 maps, in and out, easy peasy.
Yeah.
easy for New York.
The next match was the Defiant versus Fusion. Fusion winning 3-2, and that one was way tighter than anyone was expecting, right?
Yeah, Defiant were pushed a lot further than Philly were pushed a lot further. Sorry, by Defiant than they expected.
Yeah. And it was
Now,
almost a reverse sweep, actually. Well, it would have been a reverse sweep if they'd taken Nepal, but
yeah,
it almost
Kings
looks
Row.
like a game. Well, I was going to say it looks like a game in two halves because it was a 2-0 and a 2-1 on the first two maps, and then a 2-1, but then a 6-5 on a massive Kings Row.
Yeah, that match was very long.
But and then Philly take it again 2-0 on control. But Defiant are a funny one because they look. Let's have a look at the standings a sec.
Bit hot and cold again.
Yeah. So they've won one, lost three. They've lost against Philly. I can't remember who else they lost against now, but yeah, they did.
2
I
seconds.
think they're going to be exactly what we said they would be, which is they've got some really good players, but they're basically going to be a middle of the road team.
Yeah, they keep swapping out Schiffer and Logics at the moment. And I'll be honest, throughout that whole series against Philly, that's what they kept doing, and I'm not sure that's the swap that they need to be doing.
No.
It could well be that Agilities is the one that needs to be dropped. I don't know. I'm not sure if Logics has got quite the flexibility of Agilities, but still, they seem to be struggling when when Logics is playing. Not something's not quite right yet. Just there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's like we touched on with the Outlaws. Is if you keep swapping your players around, you just don't build up any sort of like stable,
like synergy or chemistry whatsoever.
Exactly, yeah.
And that goes a long way in every team sport.
Oh, 100%.
You know.
Yeah. And that leads us on to London, Washington, which London won 3-2, which stunned me because I didn't get a chance to watch it at the time. Being a London fan, it was one that obviously would have been nice to catch at the time. But it was a reverse sweep. We looked pretty out of it in the first couple of maps. And then suddenly come back in with the most disgusting full hold. Like, it was brutal.
I think reverse sweeps are the most satisfying wins possible.
Oh, 100%.
Like, it's well and good to 3-0 someone.
Yeah.
But I would much rather, like, see my team show some resolve and, like, battle back and, you know.
Well, it's just it's pure like excitement, isn't it? Like watching them.
Oh yeah, it's great entertainment for a neutral as well.
So we've full held two maps in a row and essentially just crushed the Washington mental. And
yeah.
And then Nepal was quite close, I think. So I think Washington are still a good team. They had sickness problems that week as well.
Yes, they did.
There's a photo of Corey after the match, and he looks so fucked. So I feel for them.
Yeah.
Do feel for them because that must have been rough, and to lose in that manner in your home stand, your own home stand. But from a London perspective, that was a massive result, and I think it kind of like kickstarted their season a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think
because
London will be.
London have won all their games since.
Yeah, that's been definitely, like you said, it's been a defining point in that they needed to.
Yeah.
Have a moment where they can. I can't think of the word now.
What are you looking for?
What word am I looking for? I can edit all this out. Yay! Galvanize. Thank you.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah. No, I think it was their little turning point. So they're 3-2 now.
Yeah, looking a lot better. Yeah.
All right. So that's week 3.
Yeah.
Let's move on to week 4.
So now on to the Houston one.
Yeah, the Houston. Was there? Yeah, oh, of course. There was only one homestand because of coronavirus.
Yeah, I think we should go on to speak about coronavirus and how it's the impact it's had on sporting and esports events a little bit later as well.
Yep.
Week 4. It's still a fair amount of games played this weekend.
Yeah, there was 3 games a day, so or 3 or 4.
New York taking Florida to task, and
kind of not really surprising, but then Florida did look good in week 1.
Yeah,
but just we knew that New York were going to outclass a team like Florida, so I'm not surprised by the result.
No, not shocked. Atlanta beating Toronto.
I mean, that was our first showing from Atlanta, right? So
yeah,
they looked super strong at the end of last season. They almost went to finals after going through the upper bracket. They lost to Titans, I think, in the upper bracket.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why they didn't go to finals last year. They were really strong, and they kind of picked up on the same
yeah,
vein.
Baby Bay and Urster works together really well.
Yeah. Urster, really impressed me again.
Yeah, he pulled off a profit, didn't he? Got like a 4K on Tracer.
Yeah.
Obviously not in the same circumstances as Profit did, but still, you know.
Yeah, he's pretty nutty.
Yeah. London beating Houston 3-2.
That was closer than I thought it was going to be, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I thought Houston
especially
were get destroyed. I know that they're in Houston.
Yeah, it was their homestand, but still, they're gonna.
And the first 2 maps looked like a kind of roll. And then Houston, I don't know whether it was just being at home or what, but Houston found something from somewhere and managed to pull a couple of maps back and make the 5th pretty close as well. So
yeah,
good on them. At least they're showing some signs of life now.
Yeah, I think this is the start of them waking up a little bit and realizing they have to fight. If they don't fight at their own homestand now, when are they gonna do it?
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Yep. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, it's fine. Boston Uprising getting straight rolled by an on fire Philadelphia Fusion.
Boston have officially claimed worst team of the league status. Outside of Outlaws and Boston are just as bad as one another. I think they sit on that bottom step together, clutching a wooden spoon.
I think you have to put Defiant in that mix as well right now. No, and it pains me to say it, especially with the talent pool.
After the result of the final match of the weekend, I agree. Purely because Houston beat them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's kind of like 2 or 3 teams that just look shit.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
Paris, the mighty Paris lads.
Okay,
3-1.
So I actually got
Atlanta
to watch
Reign.
some of this game, and I haven't been. I've had a busy couple of weeks. I haven't been able to watch that much Overwatch League, but I did watch this game, and Paris look super strong. Like Atlanta weren't even that bad, but Paris just look really strong.
They look like a team that's been playing together for years.
Yeah, and players like Ben Best and Nico, who looked bad last season, are looking like serious players. So I think there's been some amazing work done by the coaching staff. I think they've picked up their game as players massively.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a unit, Paris play really well together. I saw some nice stuff from Atlanta. They won on Hanamura, and Ursa pulled out an insane May play to win that map for them. And if you can find a highlight for that, I would. Where he rushes an ulting McCree, diving ice block across in front of his sight line to block the Deadeye.
Oh wow!
And in the meantime, he's just dropped his May ult. And I think he dropped his May ult in and killed a couple as well. It was dirty. It was a really dirty play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of like my play of Overwatch League so far this season.
There was the Pokpo Fire Strike.
And the Fire Strike. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
The joy of the Baptiste window.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was against.
That was the Toronto match, I think.
That was the Toronto match, was it? Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh yeah, it was the Toronto match. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's probably my favourite play. I've just never seen anything like that.
Yeah, no, it was nice. London won another game this weekend. They beat Mayhem 3-2. And that was a kind of like mixed bag, really.
Yeah.
It wasn't a reverse sweep. It wasn't, it was a bit of a mixed bag. I think they're probably quite evenly matched teams, actually.
Yeah. I think the Florida got off to a good start in the season because they were playing teams like Houston and others that would not put pressure on their hit scan players and allow them to take shots from distance. And they've got some talented players in that roster, and if you give them time and space,
DPS is nutty. Yeah.
If you give them the time and space, they're gonna click heads. So.
Yeah. But so yeah, I think that was a pretty good game. And then Houston finally get a win against Defiant 3-1, which like I said was a bit surprising for me. I think Defiant would do them there, but
I think it was surprising for everyone, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's again good to see that they're playing Linkser. He's been missing hard, you know. All of their matches featured either Linkser and Dante, so like
maybe that's the lineup they need to go with.
Yeah, absolutely. Just double checking that if they did not swap their.
I was going to say,
support.
Did they leave their support line alone?
They left their support line alone. Can you believe it?
What a surprise!
Yeah.
Look, Harsha's new to the whole head coach thing in Overwatch. At least I know he's been an analyst before for Titans and stuff. But I think he was an analyst for Shock as well. So he's worked with some good coaches. He knows kind of like what he's doing. But maybe it's just taking a little bit of time to get the ball rolling there. But he picked up a win, so they've got to be happy with that. And it was in front of their home crowd as well, so that must be
absolutely.
Pretty nice feeling.
It almost feels like he just doesn't know his strongest six at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is annoying because when you see teams like Paris that have obviously they've had a couple of players play together before, but they've got new head coaches in, and they've got language barrier to worry about as well.
Yeah.
And they're just like straight up killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think individually that Paris lineup is like way stronger to start with, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Any other remarks on Overwatch League?
I don't know if you want to make some predictions for week 5.
Yeah. Let me.
Let's do quick fire predictions, because otherwise we'll spend all night discussing it.
Yeah. So, would you believe it? We're back at the Washington Justice homestand.
Number 2 of 5. Get them in early. Nice.
Yeah. So, right, first match, Defiant Mayhem.
Mayhem for me.
I'm gonna go Defiant.
Okay.
I just think something's got to click at some point. Paris, Houston.
Paris, come on.
Yeah, Paris.
I'd be stunned.
Boston, Washington.
Washington.
Washington as well for me.
Yeah.
Paris, Philly.
That's gonna be a properly good
That's
game.
gonna be it's gonna be a cracking match. But I think Philly will do it.
Really, I think Paris are gonna win.
It'd be nice to see an upset.
Yeah, I think Paris are gonna take that.
New York, Washington.
New York.
Yeah, and Boston. Sorry, Atlanta.
Atlanta win that.
Yeah, same.
Boston outside of Houston are basically going to beat nobody for a long time. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a quick fire prediction.
Yeah.
Nice.
Makes a difference for us.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
right.
Nice. I don't know, since we're coming to the end of Overwatch League, whether now is a good time to segue into coronavirus, considering that it's caused a reasonable amount of fixture pile up in Overwatch League.
Absolutely, yeah. So the coronavirus has, completely ruined the Asian homestands.
Yeah. All Chinese and Korean homestands have been cancelled.
Yeah, firstly they were moved from China to Korea, and then the Korean ones were cancelled. I've not long seen on Twitter that some League of Legends tournaments have been cancelled.
Yeah. The IEM Katowice in the CS Masters tournament last weekend was played with no crowd in the stadium.
Yeah, that was quite eerie to see that.
It was very strange. It was nice that they all played out on the main stage, but it was really strange to watch.
To watch and be able to hear,
be able to hear comms from teams and very strange.
Because there's just no one there. I saw that when they lifted the trophy, and we can go on to IEM stuff in a bit, that they did have like what looks like team members and family and friends possibly there, because they were all sort of like cheering and whatnot.
Okay.
So it's better than them just lifting it and walking around like,
yeah, woo. Take a photo with fireworks behind me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're taking
it's better
necessary
to be safe than sorry.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, it's been kind of crazy. I think the fixture pile up in Overwatch League is going to be huge. Because
especially
we could well see more venues get shut. Well, we've seen it happen in given that we've seen like a major it's a Masters tournament, but like a major CS event go with no crowd. Like we could well see that. And I think we could see that Overwatch League matches just get played behind closed doors.
I hope they don't get played behind closed doors, but I know they need to do whatever's like best for the.
Yeah, they need to get it. They'll have to finish the tournament. They'll have to finish matches though at some point. So stuff from the Korean and Chinese homestands that have been cancelled so far. They realistically they could have just gone to those venues with the teams and played those matches.
Yeah, that's gonna be heartbreaking for those teams that have wanted to put on like a homestand for so long and play those games in front of those crowds, and not be able to do that.
Yeah, it's a different prospect in Overwatch compared to other esports, because they have a home city, they have home fans to play for.
That they haven't been able to yet,
Yeah, it's been two full seasons of playing in LA. And when you get your chance to actually play in front of a home crowd, and then that's kind of like, it's a bit of a shame really, but they are doing the right thing in making sure that staff, players, fans, everybody's safe and stays well, basically.
Also, I know we're going to mention it later on as well, the Valorant.
Oh yeah, I did see that just before we started.
Yeah, so they had arranged for a press event where they had invited people out to come try to test play Valorant and do different like game capture footage and stuff for different content for obviously YouTube and XYZ
Yeah.
for different publications. They've now cancelled all those events because of the coronavirus fears, and they don't want anything to any chances of anything getting worse.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, it is a shame, and it can't be easy for a publisher want to put their game out and show the world what they've been working on.
Oh,
They just
100%.
have to
Especially,
wait.
yeah, especially with that game because the hype has been pretty real the last couple of days.
Oh, even more so since they put out that stuff at the start of, well,
Yeah,
was it
like
the start of March? The 1st of March?
it was yesterday they dropped it, so second.
Was it just yesterday? Wow.
Yeah, second. Yeah, it feels like a lifetime.
Yeah,
We have so many
the hype.
Valorant pros already.
Oh, sorry. The meme
Let's
is
talk
strong.
about it later. Let's talk about it later.
Okay.
Actually, before we move on to the Overwatch, off of the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
I noticed that you have a couple of notes written down here. Number one is contenders.
Oh, contenders getting put in the bin forever.
Yeah. Contenders has just been pooed on.
It's been pooed on since the very start.
It has, but Tier 2 Overwatch is going to really struggle. And I understand that there's only a certain amount of content that Overwatch esports fans can withstand. But to only broadcast a minimal amount of games per season is absolutely going to hurt Tier 2 Overwatch and beyond.
Absolutely. It damages everything. It damages the players, it damages the brand, it damages the casters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone suffers for this, and the only benefit that Blizzard get from it is they don't have to shell out the
basically
production money, you know?
Which probably wasn't there's obviously a cost, but it probably wasn't that high.
No, and not for the extent of them wanting to market contenders as the path to pro. Like, this is how you make it.
Well, I mean, how does one become a professional if nobody can, like, obviously you're kind of like semi-pro if you're playing at contenders level, right? How does one make it to the Overwatch League if nobody can see you absolutely, like, dominating in contenders? Like, okay, there are going to be scouts, there are going to be teams watching, they're going to watch VODs and stuff like that. Like Overwatch League teams will pick up on that, but like esports players need to build brands for themselves, not just exist within a game and get picked up by an org. Do you know what I mean? Like it getting picked up by an Overwatch League team and nobody knowing who you are, and as soon as you do anything, everyone's just going to be like, well, this guy sucks.
Yeah, that's it. And to not give the platform for those players to stand on, like, it's just complete nonsense by Blizzard.
Yeah, what they should have done is been off contenders 100%, and have less stringent broadcasting or tournament hosting rules for other organizations to put on tournaments.
Yeah, that is a great point.
That might be LAN, they might be online. When I started getting into Overwatch esports, there was so many online tournaments, like weekly or monthly, and there were like online qualifiers with LAN finals, and it was great. But like you bring in contenders, have it fully online. That's fine because then the finals became LAN, and that was exciting. But given the amount, like, do you know what I mean? Like they just haven't done enough now, or they're not doing enough now to give any interest for anybody to that.
No, that's it. They're not doing enough to warrant its existence now, when it could be better served by other means, you know. And I don't think they know what they're doing. That's what I can say. They either there's either two schools of thought here. They either completely know what they're doing, and they're backing out of the esports market now because they've seen it's not profitable enough for them, or they just don't know what they're doing.
They can't afford to 100% back out. They can't leave Overwatch League. Do you know what I mean? Like they've invested too much in Overwatch League to let it die. But Yeah, I think we'll end up seeing other organizations take on tier 2 and tier 3 Overwatch. I think Blizzard will let that move on back
Well, I
out
mean,
to other people.
they're all going to be pro Valorant players anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it's not a great. Do you know what I mean? We're laughing, but it's not a bad. It's not a good time for Overwatch esports to be in a bad place.
No, absolutely not. Why would you get? Why would you happily get treated like trash by contenders?
Yeah.
Not paid for 6 months.
In a game that's inherently unfun for most players to play, due to really really bad and unfun metas.
Yep. And then like maybe the grass is greener on the other side.
It might be. It might not be, but it might be.
Right. Well, speaking of Blizzard being out of touch with fans and things like that,
A nice segue.
the jersey prices have come out now. So, for a normal standard jersey, you're looking at $90, which is 70 English pounds. Okay.
Yeah.
So, to put that in perspective, a football kit here in England, a bog standard home kit with no printing on, costs about £65. So it's already a bit more expensive. To get printing, so that's player printing, admittedly, they only put player names on the back, whereas Overwatch League put them on the front as well, but it's, it's not that much of a deal, really. That is £13. For an
on a
Overwatch,
football shirt, yeah, on a regular
football shirt, yeah. For an Overwatch League kit to be printed on and customized with an existing player name and number is £45.
It's actually obscene.
More than half of the cost of the shirt.
It's disgusting. I don't understand. Like, how can you justify that in any way?
No. You can. It's done by Fanatics as well. They're meant to be a worldwide renowned brand that has done all this.
Who,
You know, they
who do they think they're selling these shirts to? Like, parents aren't going to buy those for their kids. Teenagers aren't going to have the money to buy them for themselves. And adults are probably going to look at that and go, do you know what? I've got better things to spend that kind of money on.
Yeah.
That doesn't speak for everyone. There are definitely going to be people out there wearing those shirts. They're definitely going to be customized. Power to you if you can do that. But a lot of people are basically getting shit on by that pricing.
If you can spend $150 or £117 on a customized player kit, then more power to you. But you're alienating a lot of your core audience for that pricing.
Oh, it's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. There's not a lot to say about it other than that it's just it's absolutely like abysmal.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I went through the store page not long ago, and I was looking at the Houston stuff, and they have a framed Houston shirt from Into the AM, who did the merch before Fanatics did, and that was less money than the printed one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of embarrassing.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh dear. Never mind. Let's move on from Overwatch. Let's move on to a couple other video games.
Yeah. How about we talk about the developer that actually cares about their game and wants to put more money into growing the esport, which would be
Tell
Ubisoft's...
me more. I want to know about this video game.
This would be Ubisoft's Rainbow Six Siege. Since we had our little break, the Invitational in Montreal happened.
Yep. I think we were actually watching it the last time we filmed or recorded our podcast, actually.
We did, and what
it was so good.
Fantastic event.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
There was Twitch drops, like there's Twitch integration there. You don't have to worry about some janky YouTube deal going in place 24 hours before it happens. Yeah. They have voice actor meet and greets with the operators there, streamer meet and greets there. They put on a whole thing for the audience, you know, a whole event rather than just games being played.
It's kind of crazy, really. Like, I think it needs to be said that neither of us have really put any time into Rainbow Six.
No.
I'm certainly not watching esports, so when we actually sat down, because we had originally got together not only to record the podcast, but to watch some of the Overwatch League. And obviously it was cancelled due to coronavirus in China. So we sat down and watched, so I think we watched the semis between NIP and TSM.
Yeah.
And both of us were blown away.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The production was like on an insane level. The casting was so good. The game was just like fucking fun.
Yeah, it was completely breath of fresh air in comparison to what we've been watching in Overwatch, and bogged down with different metas and.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, super enjoyable. Definitely recommend if anybody's not checked out Rainbow Six Esports. Like, I'm definitely gonna try and like add more of it into my like limited viewing schedule.
Yeah, totally. Ubisoft announced regional leagues for the esports scene going forward. New operators for the core game, a map ban system being put in place.
Nice.
And put in more of their own resources themselves into furthering Siege as a games as a service going forward. So, coming from Ubisoft, who would quite happily in the past put out 17 Assassin's Creeds in a year, that means a lot,
Yeah, absolutely. They've obviously seen that there's something special there, worth investing in.
Totally.
I like the idea of regional leagues, but keeping it at endemic orgs. I think esports won't live and die by geolocated teams, right? They'll live and die by actual for like esports orgs. So keeping it to organizations that people already know and love.
It's the smart thing
and
to do.
You don't limit other teams going forward. So if we decided to start up a Rainbow Six team and we managed to break into the professional scene with our Rainbow Six team, like in theory, we could make it to these events, right? In Overwatch League or in Overwatch in general, if you now start up an Overwatch team, you make it into contenders where your team goes nowhere. You have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
There's only so far you can go, right?
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they've made it regional, so that like maybe you kind of get more like so you get geolocated fans per region, but that you don't limit the teams in any way, which I think is nice.
Anyone want to buy a sausage dog? Yeah, absolutely. You're not excluding anyone from their progression.
Yeah. Oh, Obi.
Doggy. Obi, I can't talk if you're talking. Oi. Stop growling. Come on, Obi. Right, he's stopped, so hopefully we carry on.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'd be really excited to catch some more Rainbow Six going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, really enjoyed the Invitational. Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah. Just complete breath of fresh air, and the atmosphere in that arena looked incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely got like a passionate fan base.
Yeah, absolutely. We touched on the ESL IEM Masters in Katowice.
Yes. Counter-Strike Esports. It's just so fucking good.
It's brutal. That's how I would describe it.
So we saw, or we mentioned earlier that the main finals were held in an empty arena, which is sad, but we've already touched on it. I'm not going to go too far into it.
Yeah.
But the tournament was great. All the group stages and stuff is all offline anyway. Offline, of course, it's offline, but it's not. It's held. It's held kind of like behind closed doors, right?
Yeah.
So it only affected the finals and semis, etc. But Navi, Navi look very different this year from last year. Simple is back on top form. They've swapped
He
Guardian.
looked incredible.
It's disgusting. Okay, this man is disgusting. He's like a living highlight reel.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Non-stop, like insane plays. But Navi in general just looked super strong. They actually dropped their first match against their second match in the upper bracket in Group A against Fnatic, and dropped into the lower bracket, and then basically proceeded just to crush everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
like they dropped 10 maps, 10 rounds against Astralis over 2 maps.
Yeah,
and I think in 3 maps versus G2 in the actual grand final, they dropped less. They dropped 19 total rounds in 3 maps.
They ruined them.
It's disgusting. They were just on a completely different level. And I'm really excited to see how far they can take it this year. I hope they stay consistent. But yeah, they looked great, and it was really good to watch.
Yeah, as you know, I'm still quite new to CSGO and Counter-Strike as a whole, and I watched the semis and the grand final. Navi just looked so good, so strong.
This event, like their last 3 games, they beat Team Liquid 2-0, they beat Astralis 2-0, and they beat G2 3-0. It was just like, it was just total dominance. And if they can keep this form, there's no reason why they won't win the Grand Slam, why they won't take a major this year. So yeah, like excited to see how that goes. Really,
it'd be interesting to see what happens with Astralis and Device going forward, whether they can get things going again.
I'm not too worried about Astralis, to be fair. Their run through the tournament so far, up until that point, was that they beat Cloud9 2-0. Well, Cloud9 were going to lose that anyway. They beat Vitality 2-0, and then they beat Fnatic, who had previously beaten Navi.
Yeah.
They beat Fnatic 2-0. So until they actually played Navi, they looked really strong. They looked their usual dominant selves, and then and looked like they were just going to go on a normal Astralis run and just take the tournament. And then Navi come along in the form of their lives and just clap them straight out. Yeah, it was really impressive. It was a really good tournament to watch, and it was a damn shame that the venue was empty.
Yeah, it was, absolutely.
Because some of the plays that we saw from Simple in the semis and in the final would have invoked some pretty
hype reactions.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have popped off in there for sure.
Yeah. But never mind. Next time. Hopefully.
Next time.
Yeah.
What is the next major? Season 11 Pro League. That kicks off soon. 24 teams.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we start to see the Pro League, and then the major is after that in Rio, which is what's the date on that?
Rio, that starts in June. May? Yeah, May. Sorry. I need to get my mumps. I need to go back to school with my mumps.
Rio is in May, so that'd be something to look out for. And it'd be interesting to see if Navi are still in there in this kind of form by the time they get there. Because if they are, you struggle to see anybody taking it. Yeah, I think if on that form, it's only Astralis can challenge. If I'm honest. and they'd have to be at their peak as well. But that would be something. From like a peak Astralis versus peak Navi at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Would be fucking nice, but.
Right. One quick aside before we go into Valorant Town. I hate the name Valorant.
Let's just call it Project A.
Project. Yeah, let's go back.
It's a better name.
It's like when Jeff was like, "Oh, his name is Wrecking Ball," and everyone's like, "No, his name's Hammond." It's Hammond. Right. So there was some EA held some FIFA 20 tournaments this weekend.
Right.
Noteworthy because two players, because their servers got hacked by a Lizard Squad and got DDoSed.
Nice.
Not what you want whilst you're trying to hold online tournaments. Because two players couldn't connect,
right.
They settled it via rock, paper, scissors. Online rock, paper, scissors as well, using a website.
Nice.
So EA have obviously freaked out about this because apparently when two players can't connect, they have to it goes down as a loss for both. So
what?
Yeah, that is their process for it.
What? Even a coin toss is better than that.
But you need someone to officiate the coin toss, I suppose.
What a joke.
It's hard when it's an online tournament, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate
that. The other one that I saw this weekend was, again in an online tournament, someone had taken the match had gone to penalties. The last penalty of the game registered it as a no-goal, because what happened was the ball went in, hit the inside of the post, and went behind the keeper and went in.
Right.
The game registered it as a no-goal, and the commentary behind it was like, "Oh, he's gone so close to winning," but the ball went in. And the ruling is, because the game decided, nah,
right,
it didn't count, that's it. But I've seen the clip. The ball goes in the goal. It goes on the far right-hand side netting off the left-hand post. It goes in.
Oh my
yeah.
Goodness. What a joke.
FIFA.
Esports ready.
Esports. Yeah.
I don't know.
Alright, shall we go to Valorant Town before we wrap this up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Valorant Project A, sorry. Project A.
Project A. Okay, so we know that Project A, or Valorant, is Riot's new 5v5 tactical / hero shooter. And in theory, it should tick all of my boxes. But it really doesn't. I've seen the gameplay footage. They released like a in-house test between some devs, and nothing about the game has excited me.
It's weird. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I read the other day, because me and you have been talking about the art style and how much we don't like it, and how kind of like beige it is.
Yeah.
And I read the other day that the art director is actually the guy that did TF2. And
yes, he is.
Boy, can you see it once you know it.
I don't know.
It screams Team Fortress 2.
What? It's really alright, so it's a character-based FPS.
Yes.
With a round system, with gun purchasing and ability purchasing, like CS.
It's somewhere between Overwatch and Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how it's being touted.
And if you're going to make a game to try and break into the FPS market, you go after the big boys, and it makes sense.
For sure.
But the abilities, because of the effects on screen and the beige art design, it just looks awful, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, we've seen like alpha footage, so maybe it's going to be better, right? But
I hope so.
Yeah, because it looks underwhelming right now.
In that dev footage, when they put up like what can only be described as essentially like a May wall, and they go inside and everything's green.
Oh, looked awful. It's like a total head fuck.
It's like you put your head in some jelly or something. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How are you going to know what's going on?
The weapon buy menu looks really horrible.
It looks really confusing, I think.
Yeah.
I think it'll. A lot of people get upset. Like, well, not upset. Overwhelmed. Sorry, going in. It's a lot to take in. Um, abilities can only be used a certain amount of times per round as well.
Yep. And
So
it
I
would
guess that
appear
stops on
that
spam.
would appear that heroes have ultimates, but to earn said ultimate, you have to get a certain amount of kills. So you can't just earn them over time. You have to. You actually have to actively frag
Which.
to earn an ultimate, which I think is better because things are rewarded by skill. Not
Yeah.
like in Overwatch, if you wait long enough, you'll get an Earth Shatter, which you might just hit. You might fluke it, right? Whereas in this, you actively have to get like 7 kills or something before you can use an ultimate.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but I think that's more balanced because I don't think if you're destroying as it is, I don't think you need something else to make it worse. Like it's always struck me in like Call of Duty. Say you get like a 15-player kill streak, and then you call in a VTOL or whatever it is nowadays.
Yeah.
Somebody just sits on points and murks everyone.
Yeah.
Like you're already doing amazing. Do you really need help? Like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't agree. I don't agree with the fact that there are ultimates in this game anyway.
It just for me it just looks jarring because the guns are so like not characterized at all compared to Overwatch. You know, like they all have like the signature weapons. It's not
Yeah.
like oh Anna's pulled out an AK-47. That's what it looks like here.
Yeah.
You know,
Basically. Yeah.
it's like Genji jumping around with some knives, and then all of a sudden he pulls out like an MP5.
Yeah.
It just seems quite jarring, and it just rubs me out the wrong way. I don't know.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of hype behind this game,
A
and maybe
tremendous
it'll be
amount.
justified. Maybe it will be. But
It's
can
free
see
to play.
It'll be free to play, so there's no reason to not try it. I'll absolutely give it a go. I love Counter Strike.
Yeah.
I've put a lot of time into Overwatch, and if it works, then this game could be insane. It could be great. But if it doesn't work, then it's going to be an absolute disaster.
It's funny because the people that from my Twitter timeline, all the Overwatch pros seem to be going, "Oh, look at this Valorant, look at this Project
Yeah.
A, this looks pretty cool." And the CS players I follow are going,
Yeah.
"Cool."
Yeah, basically.
It might be alright, you know. Whereas,
yeah, I think CS players are open to trying it, but there's no reason for CS players to leave CS to go to this
no,
game.
no. Maybe in a couple of years, if this become like the biggest esport there is.
Sure.
But yeah, currently, no way, no point.
Yeah, no, I don't think you'll see too many people leave CS. I think you might see some Apex Legends players move towards this game. I think you'll see Overwatch players move towards this game, but
Yeah, I mean, Apex. It's, they don't. I don't think they know what they're doing much with that game. They're kind of going
no.
down the Fortnite route a little bit, where they're just like, let's make the base game fun and balls the competitive.
Yeah, I mean, does it need like Apex Legends esports is kind of like is more interesting to me than Fortnite, but do I really like battle royale esports? And my answer is kind of like no. No, I don't.
It's just not.
Because there's no unless you put emphasis on getting kills.
Yeah.
And like if it's a points-based system, obviously you get points for finishing first, second, third, or whatever. But unless you put heavy emphasis on getting kills, all you have is teams find a little camping spot and then sitting there for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the casters are just doing their
damn
hardest. Like whoever casts Battle Royale esports needs a fucking raise.
Yeah.
There is so much filler.
This is why Rainbow Six and Counter Strike are so good to watch.
Yeah.
Because every map has that like crescendo, like that peak moment where everything goes fucking nuts.
Yeah.
You know, that team that's been trying to make that push for like a minute and a half and have been slowly working their way through, exercising all their routes and everything. It all kicks off, and you have that hype moment, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and that's that's when casters can come alive, right? And they make a moment in esports.
Absolutely, and there's what 16 rounds in CS.
It's a best of 30, so it's first
Best
16.
best of 30. So you have that moment consistently.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Compared to a battle royale game, you don't know if that moment's gonna come.
Yeah, that moment might never come, because what you often see is players dying in like the storm or the gas, whatever you want to call it, in a battle royale.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I mean, like they get tagged up in a fight early on, and then it's just a case of waiting for 20 minutes before they finally die to like one shot because they're so weak and they got no meds. I don't know. I just think battle royales should stay as battle royales. They're fun to play online, but I don't think they're. I don't think they're esports.
Completely agree. Right. Should we wrap this
I
one
think
up
that's a
then?
good place to wrap it up. Battle
Yeah,
royale esports are shit.
We heard it here first. I doubt you have, actually, to be honest. Right. Yeah. So we will catch you again next week.
Right.
Thank you very much for listening to the Kill Feed. I've been Tom.
Oh, I'm Owen. Bye.
Yay. Bye. Cheers.